Hello, Josh here from Racing to Profit. Hope you can hear me and see me briefly. Thought I would just say hello before getting rid of my face, which I will do now. The purpose of this video, I'm going to quickly whiz through the Class 2 handicap at Chester on Saturday, which is on ITV Racing, the 240 here, and try and say something useful both for this race and moving forwards. It's been a good, well, yesterday was a fun day on the blog. I'm recording this at 10 a.m. on Friday, but Thursday I emailed out these stats as well. I'm trying to do a better job with providing something to flick through and read every day on the flat front. As you may or may not know, my tipping focuses on 3 mile plus jumps races, mainly handicap chases, of which there's plenty over the summer jumps, but obviously you get the odd day when there isn't much to look at, and I try and flag some useful kind of chat and stats for various meetings, both for the day and moving forward. These went up around 4 or 5 o'clock on the Wednesday, so plenty of time to flick through. They were quite focused and probably a better job than I've done at times, and I'm going to try and use this as a model moving forwards. But yes, you've got Carl Burke's record with 2-year-olds at Carlisle. That's worth noting down. He had 2 runners, a third I think at 13 to 2 and a second at 14 to 1 who lost by a length. So that was a bit frustrating, but still a decent run. Firebomb was friendless in the market for Brian Smart, but do watch his first time out, 2-year-olds. He did have a good winner at York, which obviously trainers can use horses as marker horses, especially their 2-year-olds, to know how good their crop is, and obviously you can work horses at home against different horses to get some kind of idea on their ability. He also does okay when booking Harrison Shaw from a small sample pool there, but that's something to keep an eye on. The Dalglish Grey combo, this horse was a non-runner in the end, and maybe they did fear the odds-on shot, who bolted up at about 1 to 2, I think, but they do pretty well when teaming up at Carlisle, and especially with horses aged 3, so that's worth keeping an eye on and noting down for the future. Over to Haydock we went, where Michael Dodds teamed up with Connor Beasley for 3 rides, and you can see those stats there: 6 from 17, 9 places, plus 38 to starting price. If you'd put £1 on each of them, you'd have won £38 back, which isn't too bad at all. And Dodds does fairly well at Haydock anyway. And yeah, so they teamed up with 3. They had a winner in the 355. He was kind of 4.5, 5 to 1 early prices, 4 to 1 in the morning, went off about 3s. John Kirkup was second in the 430. Most of his recent wins have come with headgear applied, and he hasn't worn his headgear for his last 2 starts, but that was a decent running on second, bumping into a progressive horse. So maybe next time out, headgear back on for John Kirkup, and he will go one better. And the 5 p.m. was a first time out horse in the maiden. I think the market guided there pretty weak, and he may still be running, I think. But then we saved the best till last, flagging Marco Gianni, who is a £3 claimer who's worth keeping an eye on. Superb stats, which have improved again. I think they're now 7 from 20 odd in the last 14 days, because he had a winner at Wolverhampton the evening as I just posted this, and then had this winner at Sandown. He's obviously connected to the Stuart Williams yard, who holds his license as an amateur or claimer, but with William Stone, he was 3 from 9, 6 places, now 4 from 10, 7 places on his handicappers in the last year. Dashing Roger, around 12 to 1, was always going to race prominently, had form at Leicester in heavy, up there muddy hill, so he seemed to like Sandown, and he just won by about a length, I think, come the line, having been smashed into about 5 to 1. So that was good fun. But yeah, some stats there to note down for the future. The community was on decent form as well, especially Paul. Where should I find it? He likes finding these big priced horses, especially over jumps. And put up a shocker star. It was about 25s, I think, at the grand old age of 13. Superb write-up. His record, the horse's record, with when Shane Quinn was on, as you can see there, 1-1-1, 3-1, 2-2-3, and now another 1. So that's decent, and an idea again of looking at jockeys' records on certain horses, but that was a biggie that landed. So there's always some quality and something to flick through. But with that said, and with those ideas in mind of trying to say something useful, let's jump over to the 240 at Chester. I'm in the excellent Gigi's Gold, as I often am. The ground looks to be drying out, doesn't it? So let's just start with the Instant Expert. I'm going to change this to good because I don't think there's any rain around. The weather looks set fair. It's good to soft in places already. On the Friday, this is the Instant Expert. This is an idea of horses who have, proven in conditions. Those that have won. This is the winning form in all conditions, as you can see here. And yeah, let me just put on the flat turf so we can see that. If I just put it on handicaps, obviously you can pause this and do what you want with it. You can see some of the record there. What we do have down the right hand side are horses, their today's mark, which is here, today's handicap mark against their last winning mark. That doesn't mean that's the highest mark they've ever run off, but for example, Hey Jones is £1 above his last win. Another bat is now £5. That win rather impressive last time out of 90, and he did win off 100 as a 3-year-old in a handicap, so he may not be handicapped out of it. A few in here who have yet to win in handicaps, hence, or certainly flat turf handicaps, hence they're kind of greyed out. So that may indicate they're struggling to win, or there's room in their mark and there's better to come at some point. Boardman is £10 above his last winning mark, but he's a progressive, could be anything type still, and I'll touch on him in a moment. Gabriel the Wire, as I will him, because he's now £2 below his winning mark. And if there's a horse to take from this race who doesn't win, if you like playing in flat handicaps, it is him, I think, and I'll touch on him in a moment. But you can see he does tick a few boxes in terms of course, distance, class, and the going. King's Knight £12 above last winning mark. Hayder's £2 above, and Via Serendipity £5 above last winning mark. That's the winning form. Let's have a look at the win and place, and you can see there the Stuart Williams horse here, Jitilab, I don't know how you say that, something like that. You can see as kind of winning and placed form in conditions. So that might be a horse in terms of who ticks the boxes for the race conditions, who's worth keeping an eye on. Another bat has course form. Their form ties in. I'll touch on that in a moment. And so on and so forth. So you can look at that screen, pause, and do whatever you want with it. If we look at, you can, click down in these boxes. And yeah, he's got form chest over 7 furlongs. This is 7.5. Which is the same as last time out, so it's kind of worse down as 8 furlongs here, but that race was over the same course and distance, I think, last time out at the May meeting on the 7th. So yeah, you can click down and look at different things. Pace, obviously always important, and if you do not incorporate pace within your assessment of any race, including jumps, especially chases, flat, do so. Is a must, I think, and there's plenty of free pace resources around also. So yes, let's sort this by draw. So obviously we've got 1 here through to 12 wide. Obviously green is a positive. If I turn this going to good, so this obviously changes all the data and the stats, as you can see. It's fairly even actually when the ground is good here. Obviously held up around Chester can be a bit of a struggle, but we've got 3 drawn 1, 2 and 3 here who do like to get on with it. Kingscote was quite aggressive on this one last time out because he was drawn in 10. He may have used up a fair bit of gas to get over, but I'll touch on him in a moment. The Appleby horse and the Ryan horse like to get on with it. Will those 3 cut each other's throats on the front? King's Knight can get on with it. Now he's drawn wide, so Jim Crowley will probably want to get him out and get him across. Another bat can track the pace. It'll be interesting what these ones do down here. Will James Doyle be aggressive early, or will he take his medicine and drop him in? Now if he goes forward as well, you could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them all trying to jockey for an early position around here. Does that mean they'll all do too much? Does that mean it will set up for something more patiently ridden? Boardman is interesting. If you watch his York run back, he's by Kingman. He's very well bred. He's bolted up the last twice. He kind of was slow away in a decent York, well, decent field size York handicap last time. Was sweating a bit, pulled. He was then pulled wide. He hit a bit of traffic, and he's still bolted up. If he doesn't fall out the stalls and can break and can sit here through the race, he is going to have cover and have a bit of pace to take him into it. Then you've got the cutaway. He might need a bit of luck in running, but he's certainly interesting. But yes, you can obviously look at that pace map, pause it, focus, do what you want. Sorted by draw, kind of low through to wide. To the race card, there's no kind of trainers that are in red hot form. What I will touch on in terms of before a couple of horses, just some stats that you can absorb for the future. The first one being, obviously Kingscote rides this place fairly well, but his record on Ian Williams horses in the last year, 16 from 69, 33 places, you can see there. They are pretty solid stats. 38 points profit to £1 stakes, 68% of rivals beaten. All of that's pretty solid. I can click on Ian Williams here. I can dig with his full form filters and pull up all sorts of stats in no time at all. I can click jockey. So this will bring up the record with Richard Kingscote. This is all rides in the last 5 years. Pretty decent record on the all-weather as well. I can look at handicaps as an example, and again you can see the record there. So in flat turf handicaps, 13 from 56, 23 places, nearly 60 points profit to £1 stakes to starting price, 41% win and place, 64% rivals beaten. All of that very, very good. Not so much profit on the all-weather. You probably have to pick and choose them a bit better, but they are clearly stats and a trainer-jockey combo, especially in handicaps. Ian Williams, Richard Kingscote, that is worth noting down. And in the last year, what have we got? Yeah, not too bad at all either. So yeah, that's been consistent for a few years now, and is something clearly to keep an eye on. So yes. With that said, now this horse, what else did I want to say? So he ran here, 22 days ago. Watch that back if you want. Drawn out wide. Had to use a fair bit of gas to get prominent. Was a bit lit up and a bit keen. There's a reason he probably wears a hood. I think he may appreciate the drying ground. So he is interesting. Now for the future, this race might be worth keeping an eye on. We've got this Then What feature down here. Looking at hot form, looking at horses and focusing on races that come out of hot races is no bad thing. So Grove Ferry won this off 97, clearly a smart horse. He hasn't come out since, but the second for Charlie Hills has won on his next start. Kinran won, decent York handicap on his next start. Another bat who lines up here was behind the Williams horse here. He's since won. A couple of place ascensions since won. So this is a race. 6 horses have run since, 4 have won on their next start. So you can kind of look at this and think, right, what horses could we track for the future? You've got the Richard Spencer horse here, Revich, age 5. He was in between a few winners here, so that was clearly a decent run. That's a horse I'd put on a notebook and maybe have a closer look at for what may be ideal conditions, etc. But the evidence of this run would suggest that he might be winning something a bit less competitive soon enough. Obviously, the Ian Williams horse runs here today. Another bat's already won. So yeah, maybe moving forwards that Spencer horse, but the Balding horse is clearly half decent. He came from further back in this race also, and he could be a smart little prospect. So that's something to take moving forwards. But obviously that's a boost for both the Williams horse and another bat. The Williams horse has a £5 swing on another bat who won here. His better form, well, his recent better form may be in softer ground, so he may not want it drying out. But that's open to interpretation. You can take a closer look there. So I do think, having had a look myself, the Williams horse is interesting. I mean, he's only around 4-1, 9-2 at the moment. There's a question of whether or not he's open to attack from something better treated. He needs more than his race last time out. and you're trying to think, why will he bet to that run? Well, there's the bet to ground and the fact he's drawn lower and may not have to use up as much energy to get a prominent position. And of course, this race may not be as competitive or as deep as that race. And it's his third run back after a break. Maybe he's about to peak. His RPRs have been solid, a 98, a 93, both of them above this mark. He did a 98 there when winning at Chelmsford. Lots of his races have worked out well, so he would definitely be on the short list, although he's 4-1, 9-2, so I'm not saying anything too revelatory there. We then got Boardman, who I think is interesting. I think if he breaks and doesn't, get dropped out too far back, I mean, he's got form. Yeah, here he was slowly away. I think he's still well handicapped. He posted a 99. I know he's gone up £10. That race is already starting to work out okay. We shall see how it develops later today once that loads. So I think if he breaks and can hold a position, you can see Miles Memory's already won here. Highfield Princess goes for John Quinn later this evening at Haydock, so whether or not she can boost that form, I think she's around 5-2 and looks well fancy to try and make all in that Haydock race maybe. So I think if he can break and hold a better position, he looks sure to run his race, and he might set up, like I said, with that pace map. If a few of these go far too hard, he might pick up the pieces. He's 11-2, 6-1. When you've got the Williams horse around 9-2 and another bat's currently in a favouritism, I think, on having had a quick glance, famous last words, it is between those three. But by all means, absorb everything I've said, I suppose. Watch that race last time back. He's by Kingman. There's clearly loads more to come from him. Everything seemed to go wrong last time, in my opinion, and he's still bolted up. Like I said, if he can break, sit a bit handier, he might be able to track some pace, and he'll need a bit of luck in running, of course, but maybe 5-1, 6-1, depending on the places available, makes him an interesting bet. I'd struggle to see him out of the places if he runs his race and obviously gets the gaps because he might need them. But yes, and whether the Ian Williams horse, I think I would fancy those two over another bat. He's got a bit of a weight swing with him and he's not drawn so wide, and he may appreciate the drying ground where another bat doesn't, but obviously do with that as you please. The last thing I'm going to mention, well, something's just caught my eye. Jamie Spence is in form, mad form, 30 days, 14-1 winner for Henry de Bromhead last night at Sandown, didn't he? I read that Racing Post interview with him. I don't know if you did. I know he's Marmite, not everyone's cup of tea, but he doesn't seem to get out of bed for anything these days. He doesn't like going racing Mondays and Tuesdays with lower class stuff. So if he does go racing on those kind of couple of days early in the week, it might be worth keeping an eye on. But he's clearly fairly picky now, as he can afford to be. He's obviously, David Simcock has first call on him, but those stats recently are quite incredible, and the market generally might overestimate him because it's Jamie Spencer and he's held up and he's always comes too late and etc and so forth. But I mean, he's riding out of his skin at the moment and is clearly worth keeping an eye on. Not that riding a hold up horse drawn 9 around Chester is going to be ideal. But the last horse I'm going to touch on is Gabriel the Wire. First run in 199 days. I think he's worth one for the notebook moving forwards. He's 5. Let me use this profiler tool in Gigi's Gold. You can go to all these different horses, and these profiler tools are good for handicappers who are building up a few decent runs because you can start to see their patterns. Let me put handicaps, let me put flat, so we can filter this. He'll have his ground here, because it will dry out. I think you can see he's best on good to firm. 7 furlongs exactly is probably his ideal trip. 3 from 6-4 places. Class doesn't really matter. He has one at class 2, although he might be able to drop into a class 3, especially if he needs this run here and is held up. He's drawn wide. He might drop another couple of pounds. Chester's got a good record, wins at Doncaster and Musselburgh, so if he rocks up at any of those tracks, may also be interesting. You can see field sizes. When he's carrying 9 stone 1 to 9 stone 7 is interesting. 3 from 4. That may suggest he's a bit bit higher up the handicap and outclasses some of the opposition. You can see that he's 0 from 4 on Conor Murtagh. Maybe if Hannigan and Hamilton get back on, that may be of more interest. You can see the market can be some guide as well. All 4 turf handicap wins when 17-2 or short, and maybe the good doctor Maran Kukash gets his cash out. He has placed at bigger prices though, so be wary with that. And he's also best on a quick return, so 18 to 14 days, 3 from 10 4 places. So whether or not he needs this, he's drawn wide, but he is now a couple of pounds below his last winning handicap mark. So he is handicapped to strike. Just a question of when. You would think drawn 11, 199 days off. He may need this run. He might drop again. Will he come out in the next 18 to 15 days? Hannigan or Hamilton back on, Musselburgh or Doncaster, maybe dropped back into a class 3. Who knows? But that's a handicapper I would keep an eye on in the next couple of weeks. So with any luck, 20 minutes has rolled round and it's flown by. With any luck, I've said something useful there, both for this race and moving forwards. But with that said, I will say thanks for watching, and until the next time, this is Josh saying best of luck with any bets as always. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the sunshine. I think it's going to brighten up a bit, and I will speak soon. Thanks for watching. Oh no, I should say, finally, yes, you can subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Click the subscribe button, hit like, or if you dislike, hit dislike. But you'll be alerted to future videos. There's a link to join GG's Gold as a free registered member, so you can access some of these great tools for free every day, which I don't know why you wouldn't do that if you like finding your own winners. Plenty of value there. And of course, there is a 21-day free trial for my members club, which you can click the link, find out more, watch another video tour if I go around the blog and explain what it's all about. And you can click that and take a 21-day free trial at the link below. But yes, with that said, for the second and final time, have a great weekend. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.